Okay, so we have a big update from the North Paulding High School. I'm moving around a little bit so you can see my hairy but somewhat lovely face. We have an update from Paulding County, North Paulding High School, and they have come out with a plan that might sound somewhat familiar to what I and many others had proposed that North Paulding High School do after they had been thrust into uh, media attention by a now infamous, at least in Georgia, a now infamous photograph of a packed hallway full of students, no social distancing, very few masks, and after the school itself underwent a trial and error period of trying to conceal and punish those students who had made the photo public, that demonstrated that very few, if any, of the CDC guidelines for school reopening were being followed by the school. After they tried to silence and suspend at least one, if not two, of the students who were involved in the photo, in the taking of the photo. Now they've come out with a new plan. At first, they were set to close the school for a couple of days for a deep cleaning that would disinfect surfaces and make sure students could return to school as quickly as possible. Then they decided to close the school building and continue virtual learning until the end of this week. And now they have come out with something completely different, which is, of course, what I and many others had suggested from the beginning, which was a hybrid schedule, thus reducing the student population by 50% that was on the school premises at any time, and ensuring the safety of students, teachers, and staff as a whole. Now, if you ask me why it took this long, I cannot tell you. Because you would think that adults, being in charge as they are, would have made from the beginning, the best decisions for their students and staff possible, but obviously at least North Paulding High School and the Paulding County School District as a whole did not plan sufficiently for the reopening of their schools, thus putting everyone under their care in danger, and thus showing a great disrespect to their community, teachers, and staff as a whole. Now, I'm glad and I applaud the North Paulding High School and the Paulding County School District for making these changes, but I wish they had been made before school had even begun. There was no reason for there needing to be a photo of a school hallway, no masks. There was no reason for all this uproar, which is justified. If the school and school district had just taken the necessary precautions from the beginning to ensure the safety of their students, teachers, staff, and community as a whole. I am not here, nor is anyone else, to disparage a school district to close down schools. What I am here to do as an educator in Georgia is to ensure that every student, teacher, administrator, and community member that is involved with the school and outside of it is safe to the best of our ability, and at least that we are doing everything we can to ensure that that all people are safe and can come to school, and school doesn't have to be a fearful environment to where students are concentrating more on survival than the learning of new applications of knowledge. There is no need for schools to become vectors of infection and disease that could possibly cost the lives of thousands, if not more, of Georgians, all of whom I respect, irrespective of your political ideology. I don't care. I just want you to survive, and I want your children and your families to be well. Now, the article that brought to my attention this change within the district's policy is found on WSBTV.com, and I'm going to read you some of the articles so that you better understand what at least North Paulding County High School is doing in response to the changes that we've needed to make in response to COVID. It says North Paulding High School will reopen Monday after closing down due to several students and staff testing positive for coronavirus. The school got national attention last week after photos circulated online of a jam-packed hallway and few students wearing masks. Later that week, 3 staff members and 6 students tested positive for the coronavirus. All 9 of those people were at school for at least a few days last week. It continues. School officials, and this is the most disturbing part, even though the district and school have now taken the appropriate steps to ensure that students, teachers, and staff can be safer. This is the alarming section of the new reporting. School officials said they now have at least 35 confirmed cases of COVID-19. Now, this does not state outwardly whether that's just within the school itself or the school district, but I'm more likely to believe that this pertains to the school. So that is 35 cases of COVID-19 tested positive for COVID-19, up from 9 the last week. The school shut down to disinfect starting Monday. Originally, officials planned to only close the high school for 2 days, but later extended the closure to the whole week. Obviously, the rate of COVID-19 spread is a concern that will require us to adapt for in-person instruction to protect the health and safety of our students and staff. That quote comes from a school official. That was said in a letter that was sent home to parents this last week. Wednesday, to be exact. Officials said that when school restarts on Monday, in-person instruction will move to a hybrid schedule that combines in-person instruction with digital learning. Students will also be divided into 2 groups depending on their last names, A through K and L through Z. Each group will spend 2 days on campus and 3 days learning online at home. Students with the last name starting with A through K will be on campus Monday and Wednesday, and students with last names starting L through Z will be on campus Tuesdays and Thursdays. Officials will also stagger hallway transition times so that even numbered classrooms will exit 2 minutes earlier. Dismissal times will also be staggered. So again, precautions that could have been taken at the beginning of the year so that we weren't deciding this now. But these are good steps. The article goes on to state that extracurricular activities and band will continue, hopefully with social distancing and mask measures in place, but I'm doubtful. Officials said that it will reduce the number of students on campus by half, which you should have already done, but thank you. Reduce hallway congestion and help mitigate other challenges. They said challenge, mitigate other challenge, but they meant challenges. Before the school year began, we shared that this would be a school year like any other, and there would be challenges ahead that would require us to adjust, adapt, and be flexible. This is a quote from the official. Let's read that again. Before the school year began, we shared that this would be a year like any other, and that there would be challenges ahead that would require us to adjust, adapt, and would be flexible. Then why did you open up the school as if the school year like any was like any other? You didn't open up the school year like it was an unprecedented year of infection. You opened it as you would any other school year, and you acted as if the virus was not a thing. Thus, you're having to make adjustments now. Had you properly planned and at least put some mitigation efforts in place, you would not be facing the public scrutiny that you are now and the public shame that you are justly receiving. But again, we thank you for these measures now that you should have been putting in place before, because now you're actually showing the respect you have for your community and students that you weren't before by just letting them come into school as if everything was normal. Um, we knew that this would be especially true at North Paulding High School, the largest school in Paulding County with more than 2,000 students and staff on campus at any given time. Then again, why did it take a public outcry and a picture for you to make any mitigation efforts? That makes no sense. If you knew you were the largest school in the Paulding County school system, why did you not have some of these mitigation efforts in place? And if you tell me that a mask mandate is not possible to enforce, that's bollocks, because you enforce a dress code. If you can't enforce a mask policy, you can't enforce a dress code. So quit worrying about what Janie's wearing and what Johnny are wearing. If you can't make them wear a mask, you can't make them wear skirts or any low cut or any non low cut shorts. So just forget that. And frankly, I would prefer students be wearing masks over long pants. I don't think shorts are going to cause you to contract a deadly virus more than not covering your face where you cough from. But, you know, I'm just a Georgia educator and we're barely listened to anyway. So, and on that note, the article comes to an end. But in that vein, along that vein of thought, I think if you're a Georgia educator right now, and I understand you're in a precarious position, kind of like I am with this camera, but you're in a precarious position. What I would suggest to you now, even though it requires a great sense of fortitude and a great sense of risk, And even though we don't have lawful unions in the state of Georgia, thanks to um, governors and lawmakers, but get together with teachers, band together with fellow teachers, and say that you will not report for duty to teach if CDC guidelines and protections are not put in place. Because remember, these schools need you a lot more than you need them. Because without the 250 teachers, without the several hundred staff on hand, the school cannot run. So you are the most precious commodity that they have. And if they are not caring for you, you certainly don't have to do anything for them. But I say, to end on a positive note, thank you, Paulding County School District. Thank you, North Paulding High School, for finally making the right decision. Let's hope you keep it up.